Who are the tragic figures in the literature you have read? Which one of these tragic figures caused others to suffer? And so I'm saying Senor Pico, because first of all, he wasn't really there for his wife when she needed it, because she had to like take care of her own emotions and go into childbirth without her husband there, and he wasn't really that supportive when he was there, and he wasn't supportive when her son died either. And then he also kind of neglected his daughter a little bit because he was upset that he didn't get an heir and he wanted his son instead. So in a way, he kind of blamed his daughter for taking his son from him. And then also he hit Joel with his car, and he got out to look for the body, but he didn't really stay to like find the body and make sure they were okay. He kind of just assumed that they were fine and went on with his life.
We get started. Sorry.
So to add on to Senor Pico, you can tell from the beginning that there's going to be an issue with the Haitians and Dominicans because of the symbolism with the twins, because one was darker than the other, and she was also smaller, which many of the government within the Dominican looked down upon the Haitians, and that was just a little symbolism there. And you can see that Senor Pico's aggression with the Haitians slowly increased throughout the book until when finally like hell breaks loose. And like even when like parts where it says like he took the set out to the yard and launching them against the cement walls, he shattered the cups and saucers one by one. And then the other part when the baby was getting baptized, I leaned forward and grazed Rosalinda's cheeks with my lips. Senor Pico yanked his wife's arm and pulled her away. So that just further displays all that.
Very good. Nice use of evidence.
He didn't really have a close connection with his family, like they've already said. And so another quote similar to that one is, he avoided his daughter's tiny hand, which she intuitively held out towards her father, as if in recognition of his face, or to ward off the stinging expression of disfavor growing more and more pronounced on it each time he laid his eyes on her. So he didn't really care for his family as much as he cared for like himself and his country, and he really like put himself above them. And that also shows how he put himself above like the Haitians too. Like he thought he was superior in like a lot of ways.
Very nice, Macy. First of all, good catch.
One more thing about Senor Pico. So by him killing Joel, that had like a huge like effect on a bunch of people, and not just his father. Like his friends, like Sebastian, and who the people who were there with him, and his father. And another character that I thought was kind of a tragic figure was Amabel, because I only have one example, is when she kind of drowned Odette when she chose to hide to hide themselves. She like sacrificed Odette, which made herself suffer later on, and obviously Odette died.
Awesome.
I have an example. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, each time, this is like near the end of the book, each time I closed my eyes, I saw the river and imagined Sebastian and Mimi drowning the way my mother and father and Odette had.
Wow, that's a deep one. Good.
Oh, I'm passing it.
Good catch.
Going off of what Juana said, I would also agree that Amabel is a tragic figure as well. She suffered a lot from her parents drowning in the river, and she's always had that memory. She has nightmares about it. And I also find it interesting that she means for the best, but that didn't always end up happening. Like how in chapter 29 she ended up killing Odette, by accident. And but she wanted to like cover their location so they wouldn't be given away. And also I find it kind of sad that Sebastian and Mimi were supposed to escape from the Dominican Republic. So she told them to go to the church, but that was their ultimately they ended up being taken.
to the border there anyway. So she ended up causing suffering to like Odette and indirectly to Sebastian and Mimi as well.
Kind of going off of what Anam was saying, I also agree that Amabel was a tragic figure also because she meant for the best, but she may have not always come out in that certain way. Like whenever she expressed her feelings, sometimes it seemed in a way that was kind of passive or sort of aggressive, not really expressing them in a way that you would typically. There's a passage where she says, "We use parsley for our teas, our baths to cleanse out insides as well as our outsides. Perhaps the Generalissimo in some lingua order was trying to cleanse the country." And that shows with the use of the parsley word to basically discriminate amongst the Haitians.
Wow.
That although it comes out very bitter because it expresses how she felt and how her people were being treated, which also like makes me think that although President Trujillo wasn't a prominent character, it's kind of made around him, like he's the person who kind of drove the regime and the massacre to occur, which is why I think he's also another tragic character.
So he, even though, if I heard you right, he's not a prominent figure in the book, yet he is a prominent, his
Ideologies.
right, it's everywhere. You can't help it. So he's surrounding it all over the book. He's all over the book. Oh. Okay. All right.
I think another tragic figure, kind of, is Amabel's dad, because he chooses for them to cross the river. Because it says here, "My mother tells him to wait and see, to watch the current for a while." But he still chooses to go. And that kind of shapes her childhood because they die. And that causes her to like lose her home, her parents. And then she ends up in the Dominican Republic. And if they hadn't died, she'd be in Haiti and she wouldn't have even experienced the revolution and stuff. Not the revolution, the massacre. And she wouldn't have even known Sebastian and lost all those people. So I think that had a big impact on how much she suffered throughout the book.
Wow, excellent.
Okay. Another tragic figure was Congo, because he, the girl who wanted to marry his son, he always resented her and treated her wrong and judged her based off her looks and never really gave her a chance to be accepted by him, even though she just wanted to be with his son. And it really made her feel bad. So back to what Nyana was saying about Amabel, how she lost her parents, and from like the very beginning, she was already, her childhood, it was like no longer going to be the same because she had no longer parents to protect her and like care for her. And I feel like that just, everything came back to her. Like every time she would do something, she would I guess in a sense doubt herself that she couldn't do it because, well, there was like nobody to back her up with, I guess. So in a sense, like it just started to add it up, like her losing her parents, her losing Sebastian. She had no longer anybody to, I guess, protect her. And she found protection in Sebastian, but since he was no longer there, she had no one.
Oh, awesome.
Okay. Well, for me, it's not really like a figure, but the language and the culture of like the difference between these two like cultures is like a big tragic figure because it just creates a lot of like ethnic like conflicts, and if these two cultures weren't separated from the beginning, it would have like not created these conflicts and like
¿Qué país?
Mexico.
En México. Ok, por ejemplo, en México, ¿hay separaciones de la gente en México o no? I mean,
Hay como separación de
no sé, como hay acentos y cuando, como si platicas con alguien, más o menos puedes saber de dónde es, pero no es separación casi.
¿Hay diferencias contra mexicanos y, por ejemplo, guatemaltecos? ¿O catrachos? ¿O nicaragüenses? ¿O no?
Pues aquí en los Estados Unidos, los americanos, pues muchos americanos se confunden que casi todos los hispanos son mexicanos y eso no tiene sentido porque cada persona es diferente y tienen diferentes culturas y los americanos deben de saber las diferencias. Aunque todos somos hispanos, cada uno de nosotros somos diferentes.
Pero esa gente en los dominicanos Haiti están en una isla chiquita, pero son más separados que un mexicano y una persona de El Salvador, right? Porque están forzados, como tú dices.
Son forzados por las cosas anteriores que pasó.
Okay. Oh, excelente. We all understood that, right? Half? If half would be pretty good, actually. I'll slip that in now and then. That's okay. Gracias por hacerlo en español. Okay. ¿Quieres inglés o español? Lo que es más fácil para ti.
I noticed that like a lot of y'all didn't touch the subject about Sebastian y Ves, about how like they lost both of their parents or one of their parents in the hurricane that went through Haiti. And that traumatized Yves after Joel died, after Senor Pico hit him with his car. And he would talk in his sleep, he would sleep with his eyes open, which didn't give him or Sebastian like much assurance that like they were okay and that everything was gonna be okay for them. And it's like a constant game of, oh, are you okay? Am I okay? Type of thing against the government. And if they are safe in the Dominican Republic, or if they should go back to Haiti, where if it's a land that they barely know since they were kids.
To go back to a land that you barely knew, all right? That's an issue that's happening around this country right now. All right, so all right. Giancarlos, what do we have to say? Matter of sweating because he knows I haven't picked on him yet. All right.
So, I think that Sebastian, like, becomes a tragic figure. You know, well, like, no, he brings suffering to others, like, unintentionally. Like, when he dies, because Amabel is, like, looking forward, like, to reuniting with him. But then once she finds out that he's just dead, she just wants to give up and, like, throw herself off a cliff. But, I mean, she just trudges through. And then, like, and then also, he also kind of brings suffering to his mother because she was very attached to her children. And, like, she had, like, the bracelets and stuff. And
Make it a shot of your annotations. That's very cool. All right.
yeah, and then she also stays in the house where they grew up and stuff. But eventually she kind of just leaves the house because like they're